So I want to talk to you about the For Humanities initiative and a project that we ran and recently completed under it, its umbrella called What Everyone Says. It'll give you a sense of the background of the humanities advocacy and research work that we do. So we'll start in the present or near present. 2022 is the year that we will have an article coming out. The beginning of the article reads as follows, and it's very symptomatic, as you'll know, about conversation about the humanities today. We begin this way. Say the humanities are in crisis. And let me move the Zoom window out of the way, it's blocking my text. They say the humanities are in crisis. Society values the sciences and engineering more. Students turn to other majors. Humanities programs are the first to be cut in recessions, and funding support for the humanities continues to be a national budget rounding error. This picture does not improve when considered over centuries. As Paul Reiter and Chad Wellman argue, and it's a recent book I recommended, by the way, it's just come out, titled Permanent Crisis, The Humanities in a Disenchanted Age. The humanities have been in crisis throughout modernity because they stake their values in opposition to those of capitalistic industrial society. This is a quotation from Reiter and Wellman. The story of the Geisteswissenschaften, or the modern humanities, as they say, as narrated by their advocates from Dilthey's day to ours, has consistently been one of crisis and decline, in which capitalism, industrialism, technology, and the sciences eroded the humanities' cultural legitimacy and epistemic authority. Whenever the coin of modern industrial society landed face up, the humanities were in crisis. And whenever that coin landed down, as in recessions, they were doubly in crisis. So that's not a very optimistic opening for an article, but there are so many articles about the humanities today in both popular culture and academic culture that begin like that. The Daedalus issue that we'll be publishing in is a special issue on the state of the humanities in America. And having sat with the other authors recently, I can tell you that almost 50% of the articles have paragraphs about the humanities crisis in this way. So that's 2022. Now let me flash back in time to the beginning of For Humanities. This is 12 years ago in 2010. That's a picture of the floor of the main office space in my English department when I was chair of the department at that time. It was during the heart of the Great Recession. The University of California was very poor at the time. To save money, they took our support staff away, our clerical staff. They centralized all the department staff into a single staff serving many, many departments. And I walked in one day and saw an empty room with just a few pieces of furniture and very emblematic, symbolic, I think, just the Ethernet cables left on the floor. That was spiritually there for the humanities. I thought to myself, given my interest in the digital humanities, looking at those Ethernet cables, I want to do something to advocate for the humanities. And I wanted to use the methods and tools of the digital humanities. What I was interested in is my research to do that. About that same time, on the humanist list, if you don't know that, that's the oldest of the listservs serving the digital humanities community. It's run by Willard McCarty. Typically, he starts conversation threads by provocatively tossing out a question. He did so in October of that year under the subject heading Industrialization of the Digital Humanities, about the relationship between the digital humanities and the economic context of those times. Immediately after that, Andrew Prescott in the United Kingdom wrote a post titled Digital Humanities and the Cuts, which is how the British referred to the recessionary budget cuts. I read those threads on Humanists, and then I posted this on October 25th, which is what led to the origin of For Humanities. I wrote, if the humanities are in trouble, if the digital humanities now have a special potential and responsibility to represent the humanities, A, because the digital humanities are affecting an ever larger arc of the humanities. Whoops. Having a little bit of a problem here. I'm afraid that I'm gonna have to restart my PowerPoint. Give me just a moment. All right. Because the digital humanities are affecting an ever larger arc of the humanities. B, because the modest ability of the digital humanities to gain funding shows that they have the potential to seem relevant to administrators, government agencies, and possibly even legislators who otherwise have already dismissed the humanities as yesterday's news. C, because the digital humanities contribute to the advancement and deployment of technologies that link the humanities with other disciplines. D, and because the digital humanities have the means to communicate quickly and directly to the public in ways that short circuit the traditional ponderous levers of university and governmental action. Then, and this was my conclusion in that post to the humanist list that led to the start of For Humanities, I suggested then the natural course of action for interested members of the humanist list at this extraordinary time is to start a site that, without necessarily engaging in direct political advocacy, imitates, and I drew from my examples, organizations in the information technology sector that were politically and progressive in the 1990s and after, to imitate the Computer Professionals for Social Responsibility, the Association for Progressive Communications, the Institute for Global Communications, and so on, to advocate for the humanities. I posted that. I waited 2 days. There was no response. I thought to myself, I was busy anyway as chair of my department. Good. I didn't have to do anything after all. When suddenly, Andrew Prescott, Jeffrey Rockwell, and others wrote back saying, we're interested, we're in. So away we went. That's how we started the For Humanities initiative in 2010. That's our website now. This is who we were initially, 5 co-leaders in the North America, US and Canada, in the UK as well. Unfortunately, as you may know, Stephen Sinclair passed away last year. In fact, in Canada, they just held a conference in his honor yesterday. So we're very sad to have lost one of our co-leaders. We also run on the basis of a lead research assistant whenever I have funding from my personal research funds to support that. One of the early ones was Ashley Champagne. She's now a digital humanities librarian at Brown University. And I've had several other lead researchers that I very much respected and enjoyed working with, including Lindsay Thomas, who became an assistant professor now, soon to be, I think, associate professor at University of Miami. We're structured in such a way that we're a loose federation, very much, I think, like 25 Humans is or wishes to be. We're a loose federation of local chapters across the world that come and go. So at one time we had we had a local chapter here at my university, University of California, Santa Barbara, housed within our Humanities Center here as a research focus group with small funding from the Humanities Center. We had a local chapter at Auburn University, at California State University Northridge, at McGill in Canada. The New York Six was a collective of 5 or 6 small liberal arts colleges in New York and Pennsylvania, University College London, where Melissa Terrace was, and UCLA as well. Over the years, these have waxed and waned. This is one of the strengths and I think weaknesses both of a federated structure like ours that depends on local chapters. So we recommend that local chapters try to build their foundations on some local agency or institute, such as a Humanities Center that would offer at least minor support. But of course, that support comes and goes, and also people come and go. Students, unfortunately, have a habit of graduating. So they go
You froze.
Not us.
It's
Not
freezing,
everybody
right?
else is moving.
Oh, yeah.
He goes. Canadian internet connections. Canadian. Californian internet connections.
How's that possible? Huh.
Here's
He's back. Hello.
East.
I think you're muted.
Okay, can you hear me again? I don't know how that happened. The gremlins attacked. Just to repeat myself, we see ourselves as both a platform for advocacy for the humanities, including some of our own advocacy projects. And we see ourselves as a research group as well. And I was just saying when the gremlins struck, that one of our most powerful beliefs is that advocacy for the humanities is most powerful and effective when connected to research activities. The two kinds of activities feed into each other. So we're both a platform and a research group. As a platform, we conduct these kinds of activities. We channel news about advocacy initiatives elsewhere, projects that other people are running. We, for about 3 or 4 years, were able to fund on the basis of small donations from professional associations, our foreign correspondence program that communicated dispatches about the humanities in other parts of the world. We're quite proud of this initiative when we were able to fund it. We had 4 early career graduate student or young assistant professor foreign correspondents from Italy, Greece, India, and the United Kingdom write reports, interviews about the state of the humanities in their parts of the world. Who in the humanities, who are interested in advocating for the humanities, but also humanists. And we wrote editorials and op-eds. For example, Jeffrey Rockwell's op-ed about the state of the humanities in Japan, where he spends part of each year. As a platform as well, we conducted one of our own advocacy projects. This was one of our most successful projects. It's titled Our Humanities Plain and Simple Initiative, edited by our co-leader, Christine Hensler. She and I recruit people who want to write plain language statements about why the humanities matter and why they are valuable. You'd be surprised how many people have been waiting to say something about the value of the humanities. And if you just give them the creative license to do so in their own forms, they will do so with enthusiasm. So they write poetry. They draw things for us. They write short editorials and testimonials about the value of the humanities for themselves, for their families, for their students, and for society at large. That's led, by the way, to Christine Hensler editing some books, volunteer postings about the humanities by students and by others. She's just published a book titled Extraordinary Partnerships: How the Arts and Humanities Are Transforming America. And then this is an online guide that has just appeared titled Arts and Humanities, Don't Leave College Without Them, Answers to Commonly Answered Questions About the Humanities. We also, in the For Humanities initiative, produced on our platform an infographics initiative. So this is our infographic titled The Humanities Matter. And it's actually a very long, tall, it's taller than I am, as tall as a basketball player. It was quite a success. For some time, we had free copies that we were willing to mail to people around the world. And they sent back pictures of this infographic hanging outside their office. You'll be surprised how much humanists appreciate having an object like a flag to display. One of our findings, by the way, in the For Humanities project, what everyone says when we study public discourse about the humanities, is that by comparison with the sciences, the humanities are strikingly poor in their objects. We seem to have no objects except for a single kind of object, which is the book. So the more we can foster the impression that the humanities have objects too, I think the better for the humanities. So people love to have an object of the humanities that they could display. I don't know whether you can see it, but for some time we produced bumper stickers and buttons as well, coffee mugs and so on, swag as they call it on the conference circuit, things that people like to have and hold that are tactile, that represent the humanities. That infographics initiative continued, and our New York 6 initiative, the students that they had there were quite eager to show their creative skills in designing infographics and posters and flyers about the humanities. We also produced on our platform a series of mini documentary videos about 5 to 7 minutes long. We had a semi-professional videographer who delighted in producing these documentaries, and we decided strategically to show off what the best product of humanities, which is people, especially young people who were enthusiastic about the humanities. So we have a short documentary in which we sat a group of undergraduate college students together with people from the 4th grade to talk about the Harry Potter novels. It's a kind of a delightful and entertaining video in which book talk happens across the generations. We have another wonderful short documentary in which young people talk to us about how they came to learn to love to read. If you watch this video, at one point, the young man there is playing a song that he wrote on the ukulele. Another video on books for Africa, and so on. And this is one of our most successful projects that we posted and published on our platform. This was the For Humanities shout out for the Humanities student contest for the humanities that we ran in 2016. We had independent contests for undergraduates and for graduate students as well. Send us anything you want, we said, in writing form, in drawing form, in musical form, that testifies to what you think the value of the humanities is for yourself, for society, for your nation. I can't resist playing you the short video that won first prize at the graduate level. Let me go ahead and find it. And I hope that the sound will convey itself over the Zoom channel. So the first prize winner at the graduate level is Andre Lynch from St. Lawrence University in New York State. And this is the submission that he sent. I hope the music will come across.
People always ask, why study the humanities? It's simple. I tell them, listen, it's important to me to know everything. Staying literate while staying off the chain gang. The difference from Islam to Christianity. Evaluate analysis, helping me keep my sanity. Reflective reading, noticing reality. Working hard and stacking up my najwi. Making profanity, knowledge beyond capacities. Just a few benefits of studying humanities. Hey, what you studying over there? Mathematics, well, that's good for X squared. Math. Critical thinking, reading, writing, we over here. Lifelong learners, we trying to be politicians, can't see. Screaming like a banshee, the facts of humanities. Hey, what you studying over here? Criminal justice, that major won't teach you about being fair. Critical thinking, reading, writing, we over here. Lifelong learners, we trying to be employers, can't see. Screaming like a banshee, the facts of humanities. Uncertainty and skepticism. Question everything and ask them how they got their answers to it. Got that answer. Science is important, but how we know the earth is round and why the sun keep coming up, say, My man, young Socrates said wisdom means knowing just how little you know. STEM ain't for everybody. Facebook Mark Zuckerberg, he studies psychology, said, Question all authorities. What is reality? The purpose of humanity. So tell the Board of Education that your Board of Education. Grab your best friend, your parents. Join me when I'm saying, hey, what you studying over there? Medical science, well, that's good for healthcare. Critical thinking, reading, writing, we over here. Lifelong learners, we trying to be politicians, can't see. Screaming like a banshee, the facts of humanities. Hey, what you studying over there? Infotech, that major is good for software. Critical thinking, reading, writing, we over here. Lifelong learners, we trying to be employers. Can't see, screaming like a banshee, the facts of humanities. Break it down. Say, let me break it down. Study anything you want, your interests are profound. They are profound, but at the very, very minimum, languages and history, fit it in your curriculum. You got to recognize the value. A cultural philosopher, dare to be wise, Emmanuel. Yo, shout out to Immanuel Kant, the creator of cultural philosophy. I'm not really sure what they're talking about. They don't know about humanities. But Rock got a degree in poli-sci. Even the missus, Michelle got a degree in African American studies. Got Martha Stewart, European architectural history. Man, they don't know what they're talking about out here. CEO Goldman Sachs, history major. That's to shout out the humanities. They did me well. That's why I'm here, dropping this knowledge on you real quick, fast. Humanities.
All right. Hello? Okay. I don't know what happened there. We lost the connection again. Let me share the screen once more, and I'll conclude my talk. Anyway, I was just saying that, I ask you to follow our example, not our particular example of projects, but ones you come up with yourself. I can report to you that when we had brainstorming workshops with our students and colleagues, the enthusiasm in the room of just coming up with ideas, even if we couldn't find a way to implement them, was amazing. So just coming up with a whole bunch of ideas that people have would be an interesting exercise in and of itself for advocacy projects like this. So let me conclude by saying that besides being a platform for advocacy projects, as I mentioned earlier, we're also a research group. So we run many kinds of normal academic activities. We run discussion meetings, we run colloquia. One of our most successful was one on the topic of the global humanities. What do the humanities look like around the world? How do they contrast with each other? How do the funding structures and governmental regulations for the humanities change from region to region? We ran a summer think tank at our New York 6 collective, kind of a summer research camp. We run workshops in our particular area of expertise, the digital humanities, used for both research and for advocacy communication purposes as well. And then about 4 years ago, the Andrew W. Mellon Foundation headquarters with $1.1 million of US research funding for 3.5 years of activity on something that we call the What Everyone Says project. It had actually started in prototype phase in 2013. For about 4 or 5 years, I was able to come up with small grant funding from my institution, a total of about $20,000 of funding up until that time to run the project. The Mellon gave us a large amount of money that we used to support our project from that time on. So I was PI, working with 3 of my co-PIs at 3 different institutions, Jeremy Douglas, Scott Kleiman, Lindsay Thomas. We were able to bring in 2 postdoctoral fellows, And then we work with a total of almost 100 other participants, including 72 students at both the graduate and undergraduate level. That's us at some of our research camps during the summer. And this is what we did very briefly, because I don't want to go into the detail here. We collected about 1 million, mostly journalistic articles from newspapers mentioning the humanities as well as the liberal arts. And as the British say, the arts, meaning the humanities and the arts. We collected for comparison over 1 million random samples of news media, about 6 million social media posts, and then a media form that is very difficult to work with, transcripts of TV news programs. Of course, that's an influential medium. It's just that it's very hard to work with that medium. With those materials, we conducted analysis using digital humanities methods, particularly topic modeling, as well as text classification experiments, something called Wilcoxon rank sum test that identifies unique kinds of vocabulary in one set of documents versus another set of documents, and something else that's called key phrase extraction, which is sensitive to syntax and context in a way that topic modeling is not. And at the end of that, we reported findings. First of all, in what we call cards, one-page documents that are modeled after data model cards and data sheets. It's kind of a healthy exercise for humanities scholars to be forced to write in only a single page to communicate in that way before, of course, building larger reports and articles on top of that. So I'll just show you very quickly our website, and then I'll conclude. So this is our website. Our story and our results, written in a public voice, addressing a general audience. Lots of things on the site, and I won't go into detail here. Our key research findings written in one-page cards. Also cards introducing our research materials, our research methods. We make our tools and our data sets available for others to use. And this is the heart of our research, a set of topic models based on those millions of newspaper articles about the humanities. So our models start with a page documenting the collection of resources and the available visualizations of the topic models. The visualizations look like this. This is in one tool called DFR browser. This is a 100 topic model of about 147,000 documents in this case. You'll see that if you click on one of these circles, which represents with frequent keywords what the most important words are in that topic, you'll get a sense of what that topic is about and some of the newspaper articles that are statistically most associated with that topic. Clicking on a newspaper article will show you what other topics it is affiliated with. Here's another kind of visualization. This is a tool that we built called Topic Bubbles. Clicking on a topic will again show you the keywords in it, as well as the sources of articles and the specific articles that are most associated with that topic. And finally, this is another well-known interface called LDA-Viz, or in our case, the Python version of that, PyLDA-Viz, which shows you the same kind of information. If you don't know these methods, topic modeling is a very good way to classify a very large collection of documents into separate thematically organized categories, and then to be guided towards specific articles to read because they are statistically associated with those topics. This is how we began to understand what the public media is saying about the humanities, and that's what led us to the conclusion of our project. So that's the What Everyone Says project. Much more to say about that, but I'll conclude my talk today by saying thanks for listening to me. That's where we are. I've spent most of my time in the last 3.5 years concentrating on the What Everyone Says project. I'm going to go back now to concentrating on the For Humanities site, using it and its social media to publicize some of the findings we made from the What Everyone Says project. I wish that I had more funding and more energy to continue, This is what I call left-hand work. I'm a right-handed person, so my day job is to write with my right hand. My weekend and night hour job is to work on this passion project with my left hand. Sometimes I express it this way. This is the hour. This is the project that I spend the 25th hour of each day working on. It's kind of a dream of mine that I would have a secret 25th hour each day that no one else knows about that I can use for myself. And this is what I spend my 25th hour on. In the sciences, they have support structures for this. They have people that they hire to create posters and flyers for the sciences. They also have specialized profession of science journalists who are in the business of communicating to the public about the discoveries of the sciences. The difference in humanities is that we don't have those kinds of support apparatuses, and we don't have those conventions and traditions. I think that's something actually to aim for. Right now, we are scrounging for the resources to create advocacy projects with humanities on an ad hoc basis, doing what we can whenever we can. Actually, a much more worthwhile endeavor, I think, for the long run would be for the bunch of us interested in humanities advocacy to instead build the support apparatuses that could in the future support the actual projects of advocacy. And that means, for example, creating summer training workshops for humanities communicators, just as there are science journalists and communicators, contacting foundations in Germany, for example, in the EU, the Volkswagen Foundation and others, to talk to them about supporting humanities advocacy. There's so much work of that fundamental sort that needs to be done in order to establish the apparatuses that could then, in the long term, support more effective communication with the public about the humanities. I think that's what we need to do going forward. But in the meantime, if you have local communities who are interested in advocacy, then by all means, set them loose on their passion projects, on things that they would like to do. Just as one example, we never implemented this, but we had a group of students here at my university who wanted to create a set of posters about what famous objects that people buy would look like without the intervention of the humanities. So you know that Steve Jobs of the Apple Corporation took some humanities courses when he was an undergraduate at Reed College. So my undergraduates wanted to create drawings of what the iPhone would look like design-wise if he had never had any artistic or humanistic influence. And of course, it would look a lot like a blocky square object. So I'll close there and stop sharing screen.